Ladies and gentlemen, federal employees, welcome back. It is great to have you. If you work for USPS, you are in a great spot. Today, we're talking about how your FEHB, your health insurance plans are changing. It's a new system based on recent legislation that is changing what plans you have access to and how Medicare is going to really be a big part, a big program that some of you are going to be forced to use, whether you like it or not. So if you are new here, welcome. Great to have you. My name is Dallin Hawes. I'm a financial planner who serves federal employees every single day to help them get the most out of their benefits and retire confident. So without further ado, we're going to dive right in. So the new program, again, is only for those federal employees who work for the USPS, the United States Postal Service. And the new program is PSHB, Postal Service Health Benefits. And so it'll no longer be FEHB for the Postal Service folks. So basically, in practice, this year, when open season comes around, this year in 2023, you are going to move out of your FEHB plan, whatever plan you're in, and you're going to enroll in a PSHB plan. Now, in practice, the PSHB plans are probably going to be very similar to FEHB plans, but we don't know. We don't have the information on what plans exactly they're going to be, but if I had to guess, they're going to be very similar. There's going to be very similar options compared to what you have right now. But we'll see. We don't know. That information we'll have closer to open season when we actually get specific plan information. But what I wanted to focus on today is the other elements of the PSHB and the big changes, which one of the biggest ones is Medicare. And many of you under USPS are going to be forced into Medicare. It'll no longer be an optional thing at retirement. It's going to be a mandatory thing at retirement, but not everyone is going to be forced to. It depends on your birthday, depends if you're still working. There's a number of things which we're going to dive into today. But just know, most of you, if you're still working and you're relatively young, you're going to be on Medicare once you retire and you're 65 plus, okay? But let's get into some of the specifics here. So let's start with active federal employees, okay? If you're an active federal employee who works for USPS, basically this is the deal. If you are age 65 or older as of January 1st, 2025, so if you're going to be age 64 or older as of the 1st of January, 2025, then the good news is you will not be forced to be on Medicare if you don't want to. Okay, some people still do. I have other videos on whether or not you want to be on Medicare or not, depending on your situation. Go check those out. But the good news is for you folks that, again, are going to be 64 or older as of January 1st, 2025, you will not be forced to go on to Medicare. It'll still be an option. However, those that don't turn 64 or older as of January 2025, once you retire and you're 65 plus, you are going to be forced onto Medicare, whether you like it or not. And the same applies to your family members. For example, if you have a spouse who is on your FEHB, soon to be PSHB plan, and they're going to turn 65, well, once they turn 65, they're going to be forced to be on Medicare as well. Now, when I say be forced to be on Medicare, they're not actually going to force you, but they're going to say, hey, look, if you want to keep your PSHB, your FEHB, your health insurance, then you have to be on Medicare A and B as well. Now, many people might ask, okay, why is this a big deal? I thought most people want to be on Medicare anyway, and that's true. Many federal employees do. Again, check out my other videos on the different parts of Medicare and what it might mean for you. But long story short, Medicare A is free. That's a no-brainer. But Medicare Part B, that costs money, and that's the big part that they're going to force you to go into, whether you like it or not, if you meet some of these criteria, okay? Now, here are some other exceptions. There's 3 other exceptions for those people that don't have to get on Medicare Part B once they're retired and 65, even if they're under the ages we were talking about earlier, and that is if you retire outside the United States. Medicare doesn't cover things outside the United States, so they're not gonna force you to be on Medicare if you're not within the US, okay? That's number 1. Second, if you have healthcare through the VA, for example, if you have VA disability, and you have coverage through the VA, then you're not going to be forced on Medicare as well. Also, if you have healthcare through the Indian Health Service, then you won't be forced onto Medicare A and B either. Okay, those are some of the exceptions. Now, the rules I just talked about, those were just for people still working. If you're an active USPS employee, okay, and you could look at those birthdays and those cutoffs that I talked about, and those are all going to apply to you. Okay. However, what I'm going to jump to now is retirees, okay? Annuitants. Retirees, annuitants, same thing, okay? Those are the same thing. But the rules are a little different for you and the cutoffs are a little different. So if you are retired as of January 1st, 2025, and you're not currently participating in Medicare Part B, then you're not going to be required to, okay? Again, if you are going to be retired by January 1st, 2025, and you're currently not in Medicare A and B, then you're not going to be required to later. That's a scoop. Now, if you are already retired and you're already on Medicare A and B, then you are going to be required to continue doing that. But you're already in the system, so that's probably fine for you anyway. Okay. But long story short, if you are not an annuitant as of January 1st, 2025, then once you do retire and you do turn 65 or later, then you will be required, assuming you still have to think about the age cutoffs that we talked about earlier. If you're older than 64 as of January 1st, 2025, then you won't be forced to either. Okay, so those are the main rules and the main things we know right now about the new PSHB program. Again, there's going to be more details to come about specific plans that'll be available here this coming open season. And again, as a recap, as someone working for the USPS, you will not have a choice to stay in FEHB if you want it to. You are all going to be migrated over to the new PSHB program, which in practice, it sure seems it's going to be very similar to FEHB. One of the big differences is Medicare is going to be a forced thing that'll come into play for many of you that are under the certain ages, right? So that's the scoop. I hope that's helpful. Again, I'll keep you updated as things happen, as we get more information. And until then, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.